Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Rantoinette. Before we get into it, if you don't mind, please liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate it, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it would mean the world to me. All right, I have got a lot of news today, and I'm just going to have to power through it, and you're going to have to power through it with me. Are you excited? It ain't great. Social Security is collapsing. We have the website in the last 10 days has collapsed 4 times due to the staffing cuts that Elon Musk is doing. The phone services are out. I believe in a past story I mentioned this. The phone services are just not going to be allowed anymore because you're not allowed to verify by phone. You're going to have to go down to the office, which, by the way, they've cut half of Social Security staff, so that means that half of the Social Security offices are going to close. And that's going to make it much more difficult for grandma to collect her Social Security check. And I don't know if you realize this, but older people, not great at computers. They usually like to make phone calls, which, I'm kind of down with, honestly. I would much rather have a conversation with a human being than I would trying to figure out something on a computer or, instant message somebody, online. But now they are kind of, I mean, we've already heard stories about this, somebody who was born in Germany on an American base, he doesn't get, he's not getting his Social Security anymore. And he can't make the phone call, so he's kind of screwed over with that. Basically, what they're doing is just setting this up so it will collapse so they can privatize it. So Wall Street bros can play with your money. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but the last time that they did this, Bill Clinton, he got rid of Glass-Steagall, which allowed investment banks to play with family banking money. And we saw the result of that in 2007, 2008 collapsed. Your 401k collapsed. The monies that people had set up in retirement funds, fire departments, or in some small community, it was like, hey, why don't you invest in our fund? And then as soon as the collapse happens, their retirement is dead. The United States is being held together with Scotch tape and fishing line at this point. And that is the ultimate goal. They want to crush social services so they can be privatized and it could run through the hands of people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and, some other investment bank, Blackstone or something like that, private equity to just take a hold of your money. And the reason why they call it entitlements is because you worked for it your whole life. You are entitled to it. It is an earned income, and they are trying to take that away from you. And I don't know what they think they're going to be able to do with this because I don't know if they know what they're doing here, but they are going to fuck you. And these people, these regular everyday citizens are going to rise up. Now, maybe your 86-year-old grandma is not going to be able to rise up, but her kids sure as shit will. So this is, I don't know if we're going to have elections in 2028. One of my next stories will have something to do with that. But if we do, I've already seen a plus 15 red district flip blue in the last couple of days in a special election. This is going to be a massive, this is an overreach beyond proportions I've ever seen. And there is going to be a rise up that happens to it. Well, why don't we just jump into that other story I was just referencing. Donald Trump just passed an executive order to make voting harder. That's been a Republican wet dream for ages. Back in 1971, this man named Paul Weyrich, who was one of the creators or the founding members of the Heritage Foundation, he gave a speech that is it was filmed and it's out there for you to take a look at. His name is Paul Weyrich. And one of the things he said, along with a lot of other crazy shit, he goes, we don't want people to be able to vote. The less voting means Republicans win. More people vote, Democrats win. The less people vote, Republicans win. And they are trying to implement with this executive order. A lot of red states have passed voter ID laws, which is just another way of, doing that old Jim Crow, oh, well, you don't have the proper documentation, or you weren't grandfathered into this, or your name is John Washington, and I've already got a John Washington and voted, so I'm sorry, you can't vote. And Donald Trump wants to make it more difficult for you to vote. And he wants to expand those red state laws to a blanket over the entire United States. So it would happen in blue states as well. And in this executive order, they're talking about proof of citizenship. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean a driver's license? Does that mean a passport? Because I know that there are millions of people in this country that don't have those things. Some, 80-year-old, 80-year-old man who is generally poor, and poor people tend to vote more Democratic than Republican. That's just the way it is. And it just so happens that fits the bill for them. If you are voting Democrat, they don't want you to vote. They don't want you in the voter rolls. So, if you are like an 80-year-old man who doesn't have a driver's license anymore, or an expired driver's license, then I guess you can't vote. You sure as shit don't have a passport if you can't drive. What if you are a woman who got married and had, and changed your name from your maiden name, which is registered voter? That's where you were registered under your maiden name, and now you have your husband's name. Oh, I'm sorry, that doesn't match up. Oh, you forgot to put in your middle initial, or you put in your middle initial and it wasn't supposed to be there because that wasn't on the voter rolls. It is just another obstacle in the way of people voting, and they are making it more difficult on purpose so you are disenfranchised. That's the entire point of this, disenfranchisement. I believe during Trump's first term, he got, I want to say this guy was the Attorney General of Kansas. His name was Chris Kobach. He got him, along with the Heritage Foundation, to do a study. And he was trying to prove that so many illegal people voted. And I believe this was in 2017, he commissioned Kobach to do this. Kobach and the Heritage Foundation did the study, and out of over 20 years of voting, over 2 billion, with a B, votes, they found 85 possible cases of voter fraud. 85 out of 2 billion votes over 20 years. Voter fraud is not a thing. You could go to jail for 10 years for voter fraud. And what's the payoff on the other side? You get one extra vote. People are not going to risk going to jail, a federal jail, for 10 years for one extra vote. That's just not what people do. So 85 out of 2 billion votes, needless to say, they didn't advertise the study. They did the study, but they didn't advertise it because it didn't measure up to their narrative. So they just kind of buried it. But the study's out there. Anyway, this is just another way to help ensure that Democrats will lose in elections. There's an investigative journalist. His name is Greg Palast, and recently he did a study of, within the last couple of months, he did a study of this most recent election. And between gerrymandering and purging of voter rolls, he managed to count up 3.5 million votes that did not get counted in this last election. 3.5 million. That means that 3.5 million votes that would have gone to Kamala Harris didn't get counted. Does that mean that she would have been president? Maybe. I don't know. But I mean, when we're talking about states, like red states like Texas, that if you're, let's just say you're a black guy and your name is, Jamal Washington. And a Jamal Washington died last year, and so they just go down the entire list of every Jamal Washington in the voting list and go, okay, well, we're just going to have to scratch them all off. Those are people that got disenfranchised. They give you a provisional ballot, but you might as well just go ahead and light that son of a bitch on fire and throw it in the trash, because most of those provisional ballots don't get counted. They hand it to you like it's a thing, and then you take it and you fill it out and you give it back to them. And they're like, okay, right there. I'm gonna round file that son of a bitch, or 86 it. So here we are, just another way to ensure that Republicans remain in office, because their policies are dog shit and they know it. They cannot win with the policies they have. So how do they win? They fucking cheat. And meanwhile, pointing the finger, oh, they're the ones that are cheating. Fuck you, man. You know you're cheating. Okay, moving on. The 25% tariff on automobiles being imported to this country is now in effect. So far, it's not just affecting them, but it's also affecting American car companies. I believe Chevrolet, their stock is down 8%. Ford's down like 4%. Stellantis is down like 3 or 4%. And what happens when a company is not, their stock goes down? Do they start building more cars, or do they build less cars? Do they hire more people, or do they lay off some people? What about the foreign car companies like Honda or Toyota or Volkswagen, who have factories here in the United States? Their stock is going down. If they're not able to sell as many cars in the country, even though they're building them here, if they're not able to sell more cars and make more profit, that means they're going to either hire less people or they're going to start laying off employees. This is going to have a knock-on effect that people are not considering. And let's not forget this too. Let's just say that you have a you have a foreign car that is now 25% more than it used to be. But they want you to, okay, so that's supposed to incentivize buying American cars. Well, the American car that used to be $50,000, they'll be like, well, if they were going to buy that Volkswagen for $50,000 and now it's $65,000, and our comparable car is $50,000, well, I mean, we could just raise ours up to $55,000, get a little profit for ourselves. It's not like the first time that's happened. It happened all through the wake of COVID, when they were doing price raises, they called it inflation, but it was just basically price gouging because they knew that you would pay for it. You need it. So they raise the prices. I guess you're going to pay for it. You need to eat. We'll raise the price. You still got to eat. This is going to have a knock-on effect that is going to affect, wages, affect employment, and affect commerce. When people spend less money, that means less tax revenue. That means less revenue all around, but it also means less tax revenue. And if you are unemployed, you're paying less in taxes, so that's going to have a knock-on effect with government. I don't think people are taking into consideration how damaging this could be. I don't have a problem with a very specific tariff. If you do not want somebody to buy a product that is coming from a foreign country and you'd rather them buy an American product, there's one side of the ledger is doing the tariff. The other side of the ledger, which is absolutely necessary to make this work, is government subsidies and funding into those products so they will be more affordable for the American public, so that American company will be able to charge less money and you will be able to afford it. But if you don't do that second part and investing in the company here in America, then it's pointless. You're not going to be able to afford that one, and you're sure as shit not buying anything here. This is just bad business. You know, Donald Trump says he's a businessman. He doesn't know shit, jack or shit, about business. Dumb as a bag of hammers, I swear to God. Here's a new one for you. Major law firms in this country are bowing down to Trump. Recently, a law firm, I'm trying to remember, it's got like 5 names of the partners. It's Paul, Weiss, Rennick. There's a few other names, I can't remember. But recently, that company, that law firm, that white shoe law firm, they were involved in the Mueller report. So Donald Trump has got it out for them, and he's really pissed off. And he is, he says, I'm not going to allow you in government buildings. I'm going to sanction your law firm, and you're not going to be able to do any business unless you give me some pro bono work. So they agreed, this law firm, this Paul Weiss law firm, agreed to give Donald Trump $40 million worth of pro bono legal services. And on top of that, anybody who is going against Trump and all of these executive orders and craziness that he's doing, now they're going, well, I don't know if I want to take this case because then Donald Trump will turn his ire on me. And that's kind of proven out in this most recent one. On Tuesday, there is this new law firm. Goddamn, I'm trying to remember his name. Remember the name. Jesus, I can't remember the name. But there is a new Washington law firm that is getting attacked by Donald Trump. They're trying to put sanctions on them. And if I'm not mistaken, it had something to do with the January 6th, I want to say, investigations. They were the law firm involved in that, so he's now going after them. And I don't know what he's trying to extort out of them, free legal services, or, get rid of your woke DEI, or stop going after me, or one way or the other. Donald Trump is doing everything he can to, put the people that would actually fight against him on notice and scare the shit out of them. Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of these people, a lot of the partners are leaving these law firms because either they don't want to deal with the bullshit, or they're standing up on principle going, why aren't we fighting this guy? Honestly, in my opinion, all of these large law firms should band together because they see the attack coming. It's obvious. It's plain as day. They need to stand up and fight against this guy. But so far, he's picking them off one by one. I don't know how long this is going to go on, but we're just over 2 months into this administration, and it does not look like he's stopping. Like I said before, you cannot appease an extortionist. You cannot appease a fascist. You give them an inch, they take a mile. Fuck a mile. They want 10 miles. And if you give them a little bit, they're going to be like, ooh, fantastic. I'm getting in here. And they're going to do you raw dog, no lube, and sure as shit, no kiss afterwards. And I'm hoping that these law firms are starting to notice, because they really need to get their shit together. It's starting to get ugly, folks. It's getting ugly, folks. Moving on, the Health and Human Services head, RFK Jr. Jesus, I still can't believe that he is the head of Health and Human Services. I can't believe it. But They just cut like 20,000 employees. I think it's 3,500 employees from the food and drug part of HHS, like 2,500 from the Center of Disease Control. I guess we don't need to control disease anymore. I mean, we did so good during COVID. You know, we have 4% of the world's population, but we had 14% of its deaths. Yeah, we do a great job. We do a great job with the disease center and disease control. He cut NIH. He cut Medicare services and Medicaid services. He consolidated. I believe there's like 28 different offices involved in NIH. I'm sorry, in HHS, Health and Human Services. And he cut them down to like 15 offices. But he says that we're saving $1.8 billion. When we talk about government money spent and whether or not it is, you know, useful or, you know, good for the country, I think that this is a good use for our tax dollars. Protecting us from disease, protecting us, you know, from unhealthy food and quality water and clean air. I think that these are important things that we can all line up behind because we all need clean food, clean water, and clean air. But, you know, I guess Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is more concerned about seed oils and toxins. Oh, by the way, like I have a love for toxins, but dude, you are working for the toxin White House. They just dismissed a court case against Cancer Alley that's constantly dumping, you know, in the river, dumping their toxins in the river, and all of their all of the burning that they do is getting into the air, and people in that general area have a predominance of cancer. You are working for the toxic government right now. Do you think that they're going to go, oh, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. told us not to do this. Yeah, maybe we should not do this. They're going to tell him to go fuck himself and eat another cheeseburger. And make sure that he eats it right there in front of us. Eats a McDonald's right there on camera, right in front of us. Because they made him a little cuck boy. Yeah, well, enjoy your toxic food and water. Sounds great. Just saw a video earlier today. It's breaking my heart. A Tufts University grad student. Tufts, I believe, is in Massachusetts. And about a half a dozen hoodie guys with masks on surround her. She starts to scream. Somebody's filming it. And I believe they also caught it on surveillance camera. And it's like, it's okay, we're the cops. It turns out that, you know, supposedly they're not the cops. They're either ICE or they're Department of Homeland Security. But either way, they're all in plain clothes, and they take her bag from her, they put her in handcuffs, and they drag her away while she's crying her eyes out. A Tufts grad student, apparently, and they didn't even charge her with anything. They're not saying that she did anything illegal. They said that she is engaged in activities supporting Hamas. Whatever the fuck that means. So that basically means if you are either, you know, a undocumented, but she's documented. The woman's got a green card, you know. But either you're a documented immigrant, it doesn't matter. If you are an immigrant and you go to a protest against what Israel is doing to Gazans and the people in the West Bank, you got no more powers. You got no more free speech. We're snatching you up. We're sending you to fucking Louisiana. We're going to send you to Guantanamo Bay. Or maybe we'll send you to that work prison camp, you know, in El Salvador. You know, shave your head and they put you in a cell with a whole bunch of other people that are going to work will set you free. The Burger Reich is here. Fascism is here, people. I don't know any other plain way to say it. This is some Gestapo bullshit right here. Straight up. This is Gestapo shit. And I don't know how long that these kind of stories are going to stay in the news cycle, or is it going to be just like everything else where, after about a dozen or 2 dozen of these stories, it's just another Tuesday, and they don't even put it in the paper anymore. We need bodies in the street. And when you have colleges like Columbia capitulating and kowtowing to it, and you've got police departments that are, allowing this to happen. I mean, let me paint you a different picture. What if a half a dozen vigilantes who are not affiliated with government in any way just go up to a random brown person and say, "We're with the government," and they cuff you and they drag you off? What's to stop that from happening? It's not like these people had any identification on them. They just said, "Don't worry, we're the cops." Don't worry, we're the cops. Sure, yeah, I buy that. No due process, no habeas corpus. You have no free speech rights. God damn it with this, "We believe in free speech, but only for me and not for thee." It is absolutely fucking infuriating. God damn it. I want to tell you the story about Marjorie Taylor Greene losing her mind. Something silly but it's not even heartwarming. She's just a fucking idiot. So, I'm kind of running out of juice today. I love you guys. Please like and subscribe. I'm sorry to be the bringer of bad news all the time. I hope that you guys have a decent Friday, and hopefully you enjoy your weekend. Stay vigilant. I love you. Bye.